Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Rechak Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of Exodus, the 4th chapter. And Moses answered and said, But, behold, they will not believe me, nor hearken unto my voice. For they will say, The Lord Yahweh hath not appeared unto thee. And the Lord said unto him, What is in thine hand? And he said, A rod, which was the shepherd's rod that he was holding. And usually that would have like a curved end, which could be used to like hook a sheep and pull it, if it was going in the wrong direction or something. And he said, Cast it on the ground. And he cast it on the ground. So he threw the rod on the floor, and it became a serpent. And Moses fled from before it. Now, it doesn't mean he ran all the way back to his father-in-law. It just means that he, seen that he got startled, so he probably jumped back. You're like, oh, whoa, hold up. And the Lord said unto Moses, Put forth thine hand and take it by the tail. And he put forth his hand and caught it, and it became a rod in his hand. Now, more than likely, once again, realistically speaking, it's not like you just put forward, before the Lord is even done, he already grabbed it, you know. But you can imagine maybe a bit of hesitation because it's still a snake, right? You're looking at it and you're like, oh shit, But he grabbed it, right? Because in the ancient world, these things weren't as, let's just say, people were more fierce than they are now. Right now, people see a snake and it's the end of the world. Back then, living in areas like that, you see snakes, you see them every so often, and you do what you gotta do. You either drive it away or you kill it. Verse 5. So Moses grabs the snake by the tail and it turns back into a rod. It says that they may believe that the Lord God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob hath appeared unto thee. And the Lord said furthermore unto him, Put now thine hand into thy bosom. And that bosom would be in this sense basically like his garment, right? Put into his shirt or his inner garment or his tunic. And he put his hand into his bosom, and when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous as snow. All right, which goes to show that prior to that, his complexion would have been that of like a brown or a dark skinned man. That's why this was a miraculous thing, because now it became the opposite of that. His one hand, which, as it says, was leprous as snow. Okay. And he said, Put thine hand into thy bosom again. So put it back. And he put his hand into his bosom again and plucked it out of his bosom. And behold, it was turned again as his other flesh. So his other flesh was not leprous as snow before, meaning he was a brown or a dark skinned person. All right. And so his hand turned back to his normal color, his normal complexion. And it came to pass, and it shall come to pass, if they will not believe thee, neither hearken to the voice of the first sign, that they will believe the voice of the latter sign. So these two signs I've showed you, you're going to do that before them. And if they don't believe the first one with the serpent, the snake, the rod turning into a serpent, surely they'll believe the second one. And it shall come to pass, if they will not believe also these two signs, neither hearken unto thy voice, that thou shalt take of the water of the river, and pour it upon the dry land. And the water which thou takest out of the river shall become blood upon the dry land. So if they don't believe these two signs, then you do this. And when you do this, they'll believe it. And Moses said unto the Lord, O my Lord, I am not eloquent, neither heretofore, nor since thou hast spoken unto thy servant. So basically Moses was saying, I'm not the best with my words, right? I'm not a good speaker. And I've never been. That's just been me, right? From the past until now, even this whole time you've been speaking on to me, it's not like I'm suddenly going to become this great orator, but I am slow of speech and of a slow tongue. And the Lord said, and when you look at this in the other translations, it's not that he couldn't speak. Obviously, Moses could speak, but he Yeah, it says here, I get tongue tied and my words get tangled, right? So he wasn't one that was, you know, let's say the first to jump and speak before an assembly or a crowd of people. And the Lord said unto him, who hath made man's mouth? Or who hath made the dumb or deaf, or the seeing or the blind? Have not I, said the Lord. So he's basically like, who are you making that excuse to? You saying it to me like I can't face that. Like I'm not. I literally created everything. The best speakers, those that can't even speak at all, those that are blind, those that are dumb. That's all of me. So if I'm telling you to go do something, you think that's the excuse that you can't speak right? You're not the best speaker. Now therefore go, and I will be with thy mouth, and teach thee what thou shalt say. So don't worry about what you're gonna say. Don't worry about getting tongue tied or being slow of speech. You just go, and whatever it is I I need you to say, I'll work with you, and you'll say it. And he said, O my Lord, send I pray thee by the hand of him whom thou wilt send. So Moses was making some more excuses. Basically, why don't you just send anybody but me? Right, it says here, but Moses again pleaded, Lord, please send anyone else. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against Moses. And he said, is not Aaron the Levite thy brother? I know that he can speak well. And also, behold, he cometh forth to meet thee. So you know what? You know what? You know what? You don't want to speak? Your brother can speak, right? Okay, cool. So he's going to come and meet you. And then, if anything, you don't want to speak, he's going to speak for you then. Tired of your damn excuses. And when he seeth thee, he will be glad in his heart. And thou shalt speak unto him, and put words in his mouth. And I will be with thy mouth, and with his mouth, and will teach you what ye shall do. So what that means is that Aaron would be speaking instead of Moses, right? The Lord will reveal it unto Moses, and Moses would basically, whenever it required speaking, before the congregation or, before such and such, Aaron would be the speaker. It says, and he shall be thy spokesman unto the people, and he shall be, even he shall be to thee instead of a mouth, and thou shalt be to him instead of God. So you'll be the brains, he'll be the speaker. Okay, the Lord will reveal things to you, Moses, and you'll basically command Aaron on what to say, and he'll be the face or the mediator between you and, I don't even know if mediator is the right word, but the voice between you and the people. And thou shalt take this rod in thine hand, wherewith thou shalt do signs. So this shepherd rod that you have, that's what you're going to use to do those signs. So you make sure you take that with you. And Moses went and returned to Jethro his father-in-law, and said unto him, let me go, I pray thee, and return unto my brethren which are in Egypt, and see whether they be yet alive. And Jethro said to Moses, go in peace. And the Lord said unto Moses in Midian, go, return into Egypt, for all the men are dead which sought thy life. So all the ones who knew about the crime you were doing, the Egyptians that is, that wanted to kill you, they're all good. They're gone. So you're good. And Moses took his wife and his sons and set them on asses, and he returned to the land of Egypt. And Moses took the rod of God in his hand. And the Lord said unto Moses, when thou goest to return into Egypt, see that thou do all these wonders before Pharaoh, which I have put in thine hand. But I will harden his heart, that he will not let the people go. So I'm going to harden his heart, meaning his mind, all right, to where he's going to be hard-headed. He's not going to let you go, and I'm doing that on purpose. So the Lord forewarned Moses about that. And thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, Israel is my son, even my firstborn. And I say unto thee, let my son go, that he may serve me. And if thou refuse to let him go, behold, I will slay thy son, even thy firstborn. And it came to pass by the way in the inn that the Lord Yahweh met him and sought to kill him. And this is Moses, that is. So the inn, right? When you go into an inn, it's like a small area where they stop by, a place of lodging. So on the way to Egypt, Moses and his wife and children, right? They stop by at an inn. Okay. And as it says here in the NLT, at a place where Moses and his family had stopped for the night, the Lord confronted him and was about to kill him. Then Zipporah took a sharp stone and cut off the foreskin of her son and cast it at his feet and said, "Surely a bloody husband art thou to me." Now, it's likely that um, Moses he knew about circumcision, but he didn't circumcise that son, probably because of Zipporah, right? Maybe, it's likely maybe she objected to it. Remember, her father was a priest, so they probably had different customs. And maybe she objected to that circumcision because based on her reaction here, you can see that she only did it this time because she had to, right? But it doesn't look like something she would have wanted to do. So it's possible that Moses didn't do this because of that reason. And here it says the Lord sought to kill him. Now, it probably wasn't an angel that's like with a knife to his neck, like, yo, you better circumcise that baby before I cut you up. But as it says, in the way of the end. So maybe the Lord could have struck him with an illness, an illness unto death. And that's why Zipporah had to do the circumcision, right? Because why didn't Moses do it himself, right? But maybe he was in bed or he was too weak or too ill. And upon realizing this, it was revealed to them that, hey, if you don't circumcise that boy, he's going to die, right, in this inn. And that's why it says here, she basically circumcised her son and then cast the foreskin right at his feet and gave this response. Verse 26, and this was really just a response in not anything crazy, but that bloody husband, as it says, thou art to me, because of this custom, because this was a custom of the Hebrews, right? Verse 26, so he let him go, right? This was the Lord basically, letting Moses off the hook so he wouldn't die. Then she said, a bloody husband thou art because of the circumcision. Because it was that, you bleed during that. And the Lord said unto Aaron, or said to Aaron, go into the wilderness to meet Moses. And he went and met him in the mount of God and kissed him. And Moses told Aaron all the words of the Lord Yahweh who had sent him, and all the signs which he had commanded him. And Moses and Aaron went and gathered together all the elders of the children of Israel. And Aaron spake all the words which the Lord Yahweh had spoken unto Moses, and did the signs in the sight of the people. And the people believed. So when they saw like the rod turn into a snake and the hand turning white as snow, they said, okay. It says they believed, and when they had heard that the Lord Yahweh had visited the children of Israel, and that he had looked upon their affliction, then they bowed their heads and worshipped. All right, so basically that's why it mentions the elders, because they were more accustomed and, remember this, the knowledge, the heritage, the customs were passed down. So the elders would be the best people to recognize and know, okay, yeah, we know what you're talking about. We know who you're referring to here. But basically when they saw this, they believed that, okay, the Lord has heard us, and this is indeed the time in which he said he would deliver us. Remember, he told that to Abraham. He showed him that in a vision. And I believe Jacob also mentioned that to Joseph, that the Lord is going to visit them, right? And that he would get them out of this land. And when they go, they should take away, or I think actually Joseph said that, if I'm remembering correctly, that when they go, they should take his bones with them. And that brings us to the end of the book of Exodus, the 4th chapter. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Recha Kudash. Until next time, Shalom.